Welcome back to our series on John the Beloved, the disciple of Jesus. This is the second of the two-part series, and we hope you enjoy it. We will pick up where our last video left off and recap some of the details in that video. If you did not have a chance to watch the first video, please click the link above and check it out. Now let's get started. The close friend of Jesus. Role among the apostles. John the Apostle wasn't just any follower of Jesus, he was one of the closest. Along with Peter and his brother James, John formed Jesus' inner circle. This meant he got to witness some of the most incredible and intimate moments of Jesus' life. One sunny day, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up a high mountain. Suddenly, something extraordinary happened. Jesus' face began to shine like the sun, and his clothes turned dazzling white. If that wasn't amazing enough, Moses and Elijah appeared, chatting with Jesus. John was in awe, feeling incredibly honored to witness this spectacular event. This moment, known as the Transfiguration, was like something out of a dream, showing the true glory of Jesus. Matthew 17, 1-3. But John's journey wasn't just about witnessing miracles. He was also there during some of the toughest times. In the Garden of Gethsemane, just before Jesus was arrested, John stayed close by. While others dozed off, John tried his best to stay awake and pray with Jesus. His loyalty and love were unshakable, even in the darkest moments. Mark 14:33 and 34. Perhaps the most touching moment came when Jesus was on the cross. Even while suffering, Jesus saw John standing beside his mother, Mary. With love and care, Jesus said to Mary, "Woman, here is your son," and to John, "Here is your mother." From that moment on, John took Mary into his home, treating her as his own mother. This act of compassion and trust highlighted the deep bond between Jesus and John. John 19:26 and 27. The beloved disciple. John's special relationship with Jesus earned him the nickname, the disciple whom Jesus loved. John 13:23. He wasn't just a follower, he was a trusted friend who experienced both the miraculous and the heartbreaking moments of Jesus' life. This deep bond and trust show how special John's role was among the apostles. But John's story doesn't end there. After Jesus rose from the dead and ascended into heaven, John became a bold and courageous preacher. He traveled far and wide, sharing the good news about Jesus. Imagine John walking through bustling towns and quiet villages, performing miracles and healing the sick. People were amazed, and many believed in Jesus because of John's passionate preaching and miraculous deeds. Acts 3, 1-10. Wise leader and author. John's wisdom and spiritual insight made him a key leader in the early Christian church. He wrote the Gospel of John, 3 letters, 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John, and the book of Revelation. These writings are packed with themes of love, light, and truth, and they continue to inspire and guide Christians today. 1 John 4, 7 and 8, John 1, 4 and 5, Revelation 1, 1. Exile on Patmos. Despite facing many challenges, including being exiled to the rocky island of Patmos, John never wavered in his faith. Patmos was a barren, remote island, far from the comforts of home. The Roman authorities had sent John there to silence him. But instead, Patmos became the setting for one of the most profound spiritual experiences in Christian history. Revelation 1, 9. On Patmos, John lived in a cave, isolated from his fellow believers. It was here, in the quiet solitude, that John received incredible visions from God. Imagine John sitting in the cave, the only sounds being the gentle lapping of waves and the wind whispering through the rocks. In this peaceful yet lonely setting, John was transported into a series of visions. He saw breathtaking and sometimes terrifying images of the future, of battles between good and evil, of angels and beasts, and of the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom. Revelation 4, 1 and 2. John wrote, "I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet saying,
'Write what you see in a book and send it to the 7 churches.'"
Revelation 1, 10 and 11. This command set the stage for John to record his visions, the visions of Revelation. One of the most striking visions John saw was of a scroll with 7 seals. As the Lamb, Jesus, opened each seal, John witnessed a series of events, including the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, representing conquest, war, famine, and death. Revelation 6, 1-8. John wrote, "Then I saw when the Lamb broke one of the 7 seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying, as with a voice of thunder,
'Come.'"
Revelation 6:1. John also saw a great multitude standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and holding palm branches. They cried out with a loud voice, saying,
"Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb."
Revelation 7, 9 and 10. This vision gave hope to Christians, assuring them of their place in God's eternal kingdom. In another vision, John described the sounding of the 7 trumpets, each bringing a different plague or disaster upon the earth. Revelation 8, 6-13. John wrote, "The first angel sounded, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up." Revelation 8, 7. One of the most powerful images in John's visions was the appearance of the woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. This woman gave birth to a male child who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But a great red dragon stood before the woman, ready to devour her child as soon as it was born. Revelation 12, 1-5. John wrote, "She gave birth to a son, a male child, who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne." Revelation 12, 5. John recorded these visions in what we now know as the Book of Revelation. This book, filled with vivid imagery and powerful messages, offered hope and encouragement to Christians facing persecution. It painted a vivid picture of the ultimate victory of good over evil and the promise of a new heaven and a new earth. Revelation 21, 1. This concludes our 2-part series on beloved John the Apostle. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other videos on the Apostles, and don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. It helps our channel grow and it is truly appreciated. Thank you for watching.